Hello and welcome to your immediate post-match reaction after Rangers win against Hibs, 1-0, back-to-back wins in the league for the first time in 50 years or something at this point. And yeah, it's been a pretty good night. Me and Tommy have sat together and watched the game. Pretty nervous, obviously, towards the end there. But Tommy, what's your immediate thoughts after a huge win?
Obviously, straight away delighted to get the win. I did predict the win in last night's pod as well. So anybody that bookmarked that looking to come for me tonight, you cannot do that. But yeah, really pleased. First half especially was a lot better than what we've been seeing recently. So second half probably a bit of a regression there, probably back into maybe muscle memory of Russell Martin's style with a lot of kind of more backwards passing and stuff like that. But overall, obviously, to go to Easter Road and win, especially the conditions that we've had this season, is brilliant.
Yeah, it feels like a bit of a statement win. And obviously, we're not going to get ahead of ourselves. It's just a couple of wins back to back. But as I say, we've not had that all season. It's been that solid performance, the first clean sheet as well for, what was it, 26 games, something crazy like that, away from home. Yeah. Anyway, that's just another massive positive that we can try and take into the weekend. We'll go through the game. I've got a few notes trying to go sort of for the major moments. Quite a quiet game events-wise, but I think we'd all take that. Obviously, any win was going to do. But Tommy, I'm going to start with that lineup. We had Mikey Moore, Chermiti, Jigga, Aarons and Barron coming in. That was for Tav, Gassama, Asgard, Majovski and Diomande. Definitely an eye of the weekend for that. But what was your thinking when that team got announced at 7 o'clock tonight?
So I think you can probably see why when you asked me last night to predict the lineup, it's probably why I didn't take a hit at it, because I don't think I would have predicted that. I think we've probably tried to set up the same way that Hibs set up and kind of match them in that regards. I was surprised to see Tav dropped. I wasn't expecting that at all. Like when I was thinking about the team line last night, when you asked me that, I would have probably picked Tav 9 times out of 10. So I was surprised to see that. But yeah, I like that it's something different. I like that it's a new formation. And yeah, I was obviously surprised. What did you think?
Yeah, it's cool because I think Danny Rose spoke at the press conference on Sunday about the fluidity, the flexibility, the fact that if we as fans and him as a manager don't quite know what he's going to do in the moment, Hibs don't know. And yeah, as you said, we started 3-5-2 sort of lineup matching Hibs, but I think you saw at times it was still moving about, it was still flexible. You had Mikey Moore popping up all over the place. Danilo, again, takes his goal very well, which we'll come to, but just his all-round play was good again. And again, it's very nice and refreshing to talk about positives when you're on a Rangers podcast, because it's not been that way all season at all. Very good start for Rangers. Usually we say that and then it leads to the other team ending up scoring, but it was us who got the goal after 4 minutes. It's good play from Chermiti, and I've seen a couple of comments slagging him already, and we will come to that, sadly. But good play in this instance, holds it up well, square pass across. I think it's Mikey Moore that wins the ball back just before that as well. And Danilo, when he's lining up this shot, I'm thinking, please don't shoot. You've not got that in you to score from there, but prove me wrong, and it's a great goal.
Yeah, and I think, like you were saying, when you kind of see him lining up to take the shot, you're kind of thinking the ball is probably too close to his foot to get enough kind of power off the left foot. So I think like to guide that into the bottom corner, I was surprised to see it go in, obviously delighted as well, but it just shows as well the importance to kind of get that first goal as well. Like when we go 1-0 down, it just seems to be such a struggle. So especially early on to score, and then from there you've got complete control of the game. And I kind of take the penalty out of it. I never really felt at times like troubled by Hibs, really, to be honest. So it just shows how important that first goal is to kind of take control of the game.
And that's a Hibs team who are in decent form, won a couple of games themselves back to back. Again, their fans love playing us. The crowd was strange for me tonight. It was not a sellout, a lot of empty seats.
Yeah.
I think you made the joke about dressing up as empty seats for Halloween. Yeah, it was brilliant. But it wasn't that kind of raucous atmosphere you expect. But that early goal just sort of deflates them even further and takes the sting out of the game. I thought we'd done that really well, which we've not done a lot this season at all.
Yeah, and I've always been a big advocate of, like, I always go back to the year we won the league and how often we did go up early on and how much it just made the game flow a lot easier for us. So like obviously the opposite outcome is going 1-0 down and then you're chasing the game, which obviously we've been in that situation quite a lot this season, and you can see such a massive difference between the two.
Yep. The only note, I know you mentioned Hibs didn't have too much, but they were through on goal in that first half. Again, not too long after a goal. It's just one pass and they're in. And it's Jigga who makes a phenomenal recovery and tackle here. And again, I'm seeing the comments. Please keep them coming. But the comments how good he was tonight. That was a real stand up and take notice performance of a guy that we haven't written off. But for how well he started, he's kind of came off a cliff a little bit, and that's a big game for him tonight.
Yeah, and I've not really been too impressed with it. He's had a few good performances, but then there's been a few moments of madness. And kind of, I think in the first couple of minutes, he went to control a ball and it went out for a corner. I think maybe 1 or 2 minutes in, and my thinking at that point was it's going to be a night of that. So to compose himself after that, it was a brilliant tackle. First of all, it was a brilliant pass from the Hibs player through. But from there, it was a brilliant recovery challenge as well. And it was kind of one of the tackles where you get a bit of the man as well, which is good. You know, you're kind of just going in for it, you know, and I like to see the kind of tackles.
Yeah, if he gets that wrong, he's off as well. And we're probably sitting here in a very different mood, we'll say. As I say, I've got some notes on the game here, but very little seems to happen until half-time, according to what I've wrote down. I can't think of much at all that really takes place.
I think Chermiti maybe had a wee chance where he cut in on his left, and then the ball got away from him a little bit. Apart from that, it wasn't a great game. It wasn't an entertaining game, I would say, but I don't mind that. You know what I mean? To come away with a win, I don't mind games like that.
It's games we've not had all season. You know, all season it's been relentless, whether we're trying to get a goal and struggling and just throwing stuff on at some point, or the other team just dominating things. But I think to go to Hibs, again, Hibs aren't, you know, an elite team in this league as such, but they do just kind of carry a threat. They've obviously got goals in them. They've got good players. I thought we controlled that first half especially very well up until, you know, half time at least.
I think like the under Martin and the Livy game and the Falkirk game when we were 1-0 up, it had that inevitability that it's going to be one each at some point in this game. I didn't feel that way tonight. I felt in a sense of this is Rangers, but in terms of what I'm watching on the pitch, it didn't have that feel of Hibs are going to score here. Like I feel like we ended up in a position where we were sitting a little bit deep, but I don't think they worked the ball well enough. I don't think they were like, they maybe got in a few decent positions, but I don't think, apart from the penalty, I don't really think they troubled us too much, to be honest.
Nope. And the half time came with that. We saw a double sub, which we were talking about. I think it's a planned one. It didn't look like any injuries or anything. I think Danny Rose looked at how big the weekend is and thought, right, let's take Diomande, Asgard, Tavernier, let's take them out for the first half, bring them on when they're needed. Likewise, in the opposite sense, Danilo gets a start and comes off at half time. We saw him laughing on the bench a couple of minutes later. So don't think it's any injury, nothing. I
think somebody said to Danilo, someone needs to come get their dad.
Yeah, he had a good night.
He got substituted off because of it.
I think he's still in Easter Road dancing right now. But I saw Danilo and Makoma come off. Makoma, who was on a booking, but I do want to take a moment for, he is starting to step up properly under Danilo. That's 2 games now. Good going forward, good going defensively, getting his foot in. Just looks not like that wee boy who was looking here the first few weeks. He was good tonight again.
And I think it's always a good sign when you've got a player in the other team who's had to get substituted off on the 22nd minute because he's struggling to kind of contain him. So really impressed with him the last couple of games as well. Hopefully he can kick on from that and show a bit of consistency, which is what we need. There's
this comment here from David Craig that I was going to come to because it's absolutely spot on. I think there's a few guys, maybe Asgard is one, Mikey Moore's probably one. I would have thought Gassama was, but we'll maybe touch on him at the end here. But the players just look more free now. They're not being told where to stand, when to stand there, what to do when X happens. They're playing with a bit more freedom. And that's what professional footballers need. Yes, they need some tactics and structure to an extent, but it looks like Russell Martin really tried to hammer that home. And now Stevie Smith at first, and now Danny Roloff just took that off them a bit, just kind of, again, flexible, fluid, and you can see that in certain performances.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think like it's probably more enjoyable for us as fans to watch as well, like because it's been so horrible. Like not only the results, but like And I was saying earlier as well when we were watching it together, I mean, Martin probably would have got a bit more time if we were shown more going forward, if we were, but we weren't, and it wasn't enjoyable, and it was pretty bleak to watch. So I think as a fan watching that tonight, I enjoyed it, like there's maybe a few of the moments that we did have under Martin as well, which is probably going to be inevitable when he's, been training him for so long. Well, not obviously that long, 120 odd days, but they're obviously used to that kind of system. But I think, because you do see a bit of it still, don't you, where we're going back, where we could go forward. And like I say, I don't know if that's kind of muscle memory from, what we've been through this season. But absolutely going forward a lot quicker, a lot more intentional as well. And it's obviously a lot more enjoyable to watch.
Yep. We saw a couple more subs there. Asgard comes on for Moore. Again, as we spoke about, it was much better tonight. Then Chermiti comes off for Majowski. We probably need to talk about Chermiti a little bit. I was glad to see him start. I thought he started the game all right. A couple of good touches, was holding the ball up, using his frame. And there is times in the first half especially, he does okay. He gets Grant Hanley booked for a nice touch. But he obviously gets the assist as well, give him that. But the rest of it, it's just not the complete football in any sense right now. It's very raw to watch.
I think it's hard for him as well because he's got that price tag, doesn't he? And then you think if we bought him for $1 million, you would kind of be thinking, well, yeah, that's okay. That's the performance of a £1 million player. But you're thinking you're spending that amount of money and this is the output that you're getting. I think it's still early, isn't it? And obviously I was hoping after the weekend that he would kick on a little bit and show a little bit more tonight, especially starting the game. I feel like when the ball comes into him, there's times where he can turn and he's not turning and he's kind of getting himself into a bit of trouble. I feel there's a lot to learn there, but maybe it's from other players as well, maybe telling him that he can turn. I don't know. He doesn't seem like an intelligent footballer, and he seems a bit like, a headless, what is it? A
headless chicken.
At points, So, yeah, kind of need to see how he gets on, but I really wasn't too impressed with him tonight, to be honest. I think there was times where he gave the ball away, or he was kind of not holding the ball up properly or not moving it well enough, and then obviously in front of goal and stuff like that, not sort of getting shots away. And yeah, I wasn't overly impressed.
What is nice though, and it's the same thing I said at the weekend, is that if one striker isn't performing, the other one gets the goal. And I think that's a really nice situation we're found ourselves in. Obviously, Majowski's still to come, but his time will come. He will get a goal when either Danilo or Chermiti haven't fired for us. It might be at the weekend, but at least you've got another option. When you've got two strikers on the pitch, you've got forward-thinking players in and around them. From then on, it does get a little bit sketchy. We were okay for the first, I want to say 65, 70 minutes. Everything was going pretty much to plan. The Rangers scar tissue started to kick in, I think, between fans and players maybe. A couple of backward passes like we touched on, sitting very deep. Again, not too much happens action-wise. It's a pretty hard game to bring highlights on for you, but
I think probably the one was the one where the boy pretty much was on the line and he went out for a goal kick. It kind of felt like it hammered off him.
So I thought initially Butland had saved this, or sort of palmed it away. And one of our other friends that was here was talking about the XG of this chance being more than a penalty. Not really sure how he doesn't divert it in, but we get away with one. And it's a sort of little bit of a warning sign because, again, Martin Boyle's on at this point. Again, that inevitable feeling of, well, he always scores against us. James McFadden was mentioning it every 10 seconds.
I think they were trying to make it happen, really.
Yeah, again, the amount of times they mentioned their away clean sheet record as well was killing me. But we do then have that moment, which we always have. It comes from Tavernier slipping. I've blamed him. Maybe that's harsh because he's slipped, but it's just that bit of concentration to not slip. I don't know. And then we see Barron, who is looking like he's going to get subbed off 5-10 minutes before this. He's pulling up with cramp. We see Diomande stripped and ready to go, but he's still in the pitch, and it is a kind of lazy leg. And I'm going to flip that completely because, as again, comments are saying, Connor Barron was exceptional tonight. A guy that's not played a lot of football, not played 90 minutes for a while. He was absolutely brilliant. And this moment kind of doesn't ruin his game, but it's the one bad thing he does and gives away a penalty. It's a kind of Stonewall penalty, isn't it?
It's absolutely, and we said when we were watching it in real time straight away, we said penalty. Like, you could see that it was a penalty. It wasn't one of them ones that was up for debate, really. You know, you could see that he had filled inside the box. It was annoying because, like I said, and I said probably around the 82nd, 83rd minute, and that I think we're fine here. I think we're fine. And like I say, under previous games under Martin, in that situation, you would feel like Hibs were going to score, but
we would buckle.
Yeah. And yet again, it came down to them kind of getting a penalty for them to get that opportunity. That kind of, I think we defended pretty well, and I think obviously the balls into the box we defended well and stuff like that. I don't know who to blame. Slipping can happen. Yet again, is it like maybe a concentration thing? Tav didn't really look too great when he came on, I didn't think, but for me, Barron, it's like like you're saying, like a tired. He put in a great effort tonight, Barron. You know, I felt he was all over the pitch. Yep. He was breaking up play. He was brilliant. Was it just a moment of kind of tiredness creeping into the game, and you're kind of leaving that lazy leg out and giving away the penalty? I don't know. I think you could probably blame either or. But yeah, obviously from them, Jack Butland making a tremendous save, and you just love to see it, don't you?
He's redeemed himself for the weekend, I'll say that. And it's again this same point I keep coming to, that if a player has a moment or has a bad pass, bad touch, gives a goal away, it gives a big chance away, someone else has to step up and bail them out. At the weekend, it was roles reversed, where Butland makes the error and the team score the goals that make that less important. I think tonight Butland steps up, great penalty save. I initially thought he might have came too far off the line. They were checking that, but he timed it. And
I liked. I don't know if you noticed when he was pointing the other way.
Yes,
but when the guy was running up, and then obviously dives the opposite way as well.
All for it. And again, I think when that happens, again, no one says it out loud, but you think, right, this is our night. We've got this here, and we see it out somewhat comfortably. Only 5 minutes got added, which I was quite happy to see. I thought it'd be a bit more, but we get the clean sheet that I think Cornelius, Suter, Butland and Barron as a defensive kind of team there, I think they deserved a clean sheet. They were
the Jigger as well.
Probably the main one. Yeah, they deserved it.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, but I say it was a lot more kind of organised and structured. But I say we still had that kind of period of dropping off, but that's probably inevitable, isn't it? And we're still early days with this manager as well. So I think as long as we can kind of progressively see like us getting better and better, then it's going to be good. But I think getting that win, that takes us into Sunday really, really, really brilliantly as well. So I'm excited to see obviously what the team's going to be on Sunday. And obviously I said last night, and I think a few people have commented on the TikTok about it, but I think Sunday will be easier than tonight. I'll still stand by that as well.
Well, forget the win, who cares? But it's been a good night again. A couple of people want to call out other than the defence there. Maybe not for the right reasons though. I've again saw a few comments about Raskin having a very, I don't want to say poor game, because that just feels a bit harsh. He didn't do too much wrong. He just didn't do much right. What were you thinking about his 90 minutes?
I feel like at times, like, I love the way he presses and is able to sort of win the ball back. But then I think there was times today where tonight even that he had quite an easy pass on, and he was kind of losing the ball quite a lot as well. And I think you look at Sunday as well, and I don't really think he played great there either. But I think the positive from it is before he was probably maybe the only one performing where other people around him were performing bad, maybe Gassama. And if you look at it now, that's probably flipped, where Raskin and Gassama are probably not firing as well, but everybody else is kind of contributing instead, you know.
Maybe they're just saving themselves for the weekend. If we're thinking man of the match tonight, it's a nice one, because it's a weird one, because at the weekend there was a few candidates because no one was great. There was a lot of like sevens, people doing all right. I think there was some very strong performances tonight, but who's your candidate?
I probably, until the penalty, would have gave it to Conor Barron, but I think after that, I would have to say maybe the Jigger or Butland as well, just for the penalty save, because it was a key moment in the game. So I think either one of them for me, either that or Fernandez coming on and winning every single header, you know, maybe he deserves it.
See, in his defence, right, he again hasn't been playing much. I think the line was that he's injured or been injured, which I don't really buy, to be honest. I think that's something Thelwell came out with last week. But again, he comes on it and does his job, wins 3 or 4 headers. It's not having to flash it. It's just having a guy that can come on and do that.
He's an absolute unit, isn't he? He's so tall. Like that. That's what I mean. That's brilliant when they're going long and he's just coming out and winning the balls that you need to win. So, like, it could be an important player in that regard, you know.
Absolutely. So that's one ticked off. I'd say 2 ticked off this week. Danny Rowe had 3 games from the weekend onwards where we had to beat Kilmarnock. I want to say we had to beat Hibs, but to try and keep that momentum going, we did have to beat Hibs, get ourselves climbed up the league. Are we third now?
We're up to third, yeah, because I think Dundee United got beat tonight off of Motherwell.
Excellent. That's just another one clocked off, another one up the way.
Closer to Hearts now, I think, after they drew tonight as well. So what's that, down to 11?
Lost track. It's still early days, though. This is the point, that if you win these games, it doesn't matter how you win them ugly for all I care. Perfect. Again, a few comments. David's recent one there. 3 points up the road. It's that exact performance.
Well, that's and that's what I said. It's one game at a time, really, isn't it? I know us as fans will get a bit crazy and go ahead, but like the mentality that Danny Rowe has is that it's one game at a time, you know, and it's not focusing on too far ahead, you know, which I like. I love that, you know, just focusing on the next game.
And the next game's quite a big one.
A very big one.
How does this go then for that game? Who? Again, injuries permitted, because we saw Cornelius.
You're not going to ask me to predict the team lineup, are you?
I'm not going to go.
I'm not doing it.
I'm not going full team lineup. But has anyone played themselves maybe into a starting role? I'm maybe thinking Jigger. I'm thinking Barron.
I'm thinking maybe one has played himself out of a starting position tonight, which is Gassama maybe as well. Like,
interesting.
I've just not been impressed with him really, to be honest. And well, tonight I thought he was awful. I thought he was really awful. I actually forgot he was playing come the 70th minute. I think he had a moment where he was through on goal, and I think it looked like he forgot how his legs work. He didn't move like a normal human being, never mind a footballer. So I don't know, like, doesn't need to be a question around him, because I've said before, I feel like he gets too much of a pass mark because of what he's done in the qualifiers and the beginning of the season. So he hasn't scored a league goal. And I think you were saying he's got one assist.
One, I think.
And it wasn't a great assist. It was like your kind of basic pass and goal kind of thing. So I think there needs to be questions asked about him, but I feel like there's not, because of that. You know, I feel like he gets a free hit because of it.
What is nice, though, is that we're not relying on him. Yeah. And again, that's something we have been all season. Again, at the weekend, if you'd said sort of pre-Kilmarnock or Gassama isn't going to start, or is rumoured to maybe not start, you'd have panicked. Who is going to start? There's options now. There's good players starting to show what they can do. And Tongo's comment there is absolutely spot on again. They're fighting for each other. They're fighting like a team. It's something Cornelius said in his press conference, and I put a tweet out straight away that I didn't like hearing that without the results to back it up. But more nights like tonight, and you can safely say they're fighting for each other for once.
Yeah, absolutely. Like we said we were on last night's pod, saying that, you know, maybe a bit too early to say that, but it's fine to say it if you come out and continuously show us it, you know, because for us over the years, words are cheap, aren't they? Like, we've had all the sound bites in the world about X, Y, Z, but you know, it's time to see it now, isn't it? It's time not to speak. It's time to obviously get out on the pitch and like you say, fight for each other like we did tonight. So absolutely. Obviously, looking at the weekend, do you think like Gassama was benched looking ahead to Sunday?
I think it has to be. I think, again, like I said earlier, I think Asgard, Tavernier, probably Majowski as well, because I think he suits the game a little bit more than a Roch or Mitty would.
I think Danilo has to start Sunday.
I think him coming off at half-time is, again, part of this plan, which is, if you win your games, it's perfect. I think if we had it's a very brave, I think we touched on this, it's a really brave decision tonight for Danny Rowe to know how important this game is, know how difficult an environment this could have been, and to take out, you know, your captain, your main man up front, probably Majowski, at least on paper, is the one we're kind of looking at. And again, Gassama, these guys who have been so pivotal, not just this season, in seasons gone by for a few of them, and say, no, I trust these other guys to come in and do the job. And then again, that's just, it's a nice selection headache that he's given himself at the weekend. Yeah,
absolutely. And I just think like the way that Danilo's taken these goals as well, like it's good goals, I can't see Chermiti or Majowski scoring the two goals that he scored the last two games, the way that he's kind of took them goals. I can't kind of see that coming from them. And I think as well, if Danilo does start, I think we need to get his dad a ticket for Sunday as well. So if he doesn't have one, if anyone's got a spare, I think that needs to go to Danilo's dad.
Yeah, he should be beside Broxy, just getting the crowd going.
Yeah.
We'll leave it there. Again, it's been another good night supporting Rangers, which is starting to become common. Yeah, it's lovely. We'll be back tomorrow night with more of a look on the Celtic game. We'll obviously be there after the Celtic game as well. So make sure you're following, you're liking the videos. It massively helps the channel just grow, of course. So thanks again for joining us. Rangers haven't ruined things yet again. So happy days. We'll see you next time.